gorgeous girls out there. I just want to say that I hope your 2019 is going great so far. I also hope that you are staying focused and staying on your paths, and again, doing everything that you need to do for yourself. Today we are going to be spending time with Ayana Iman, and I'm really excited to share this episode with you. It's very special to me, also because not only is she a life coach, a professional speaker, and a loving mom, she's also my personal life coach too. So she's definitely,
I don't know you.
she's definitely helped me, I want to say, definitely set goals for myself, and you know, gave me the tools that I needed to definitely start looking at life on a different spectrum, on a different vibration level, I would like to say. So I'm really excited, and I just want to give you time to kind of like introduce yourself. Oh yeah.
Oh, so one, thank you for that introduction, because that was bomb. To add more context, again, I'm Ayana. I am from New Jersey, Jersey girl through and through. I'm a mama of one, of a beautiful daughter named Ayo, who is extra, and I love all that about her. And I, as she said before, I'm a certified life coach. I have been since 2016, and it's been really great helping women of color find their voice, champion themselves, and really make sure that their vision is aligned with their action steps, because I believe that action is everything. Also, I really have a passion for building tribes, so I created a conversation series called Authentic Convos that brings together people from all different demographics to have very necessary conversations.
Ooh, okay, I'm really excited. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I kind of just want to like really start off for everyone out there who kind of doesn't know or understand what life coaching is.
Sure.
And kind of like, how does it work?
Okay. So what is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what a life coach is. A life coach is similar, to put it into context, it is similar to any coach. Let's say athletic coach. So an athletic coach, they give you a rundown, a play-by-play. They pick they put their best people on the team, and they let them know why. They help them build their momentum by doing plays, while also training them, and whatever they need to do to be physically prepared to do it. And so like that, I help you prepare it mentally. So while he's doing it physically, that was a pronoun I used, but while the coach is doing it physically, I am doing it mentally, and really making sure that you have the play-by-play for helping you accomplish your goals. So that's what a coach is, and you're just putting life in front of it.
Yeah.
And because that's everything that it encompasses. And so working with clients in the past, I've helped them start podcasts. I've helped people learn how to pitch. I've also helped coach people through just really tough times emotionally. Coaching people through breakups, and really just helping them understand that at the end of the day, you are your biggest priority, and you have to pour into yourself. And so that's really important for me, because it's nice to say, go love yourself, girl, that's fun. But it's another thing to say, here's how we're going to actually get you there, and building an actionable plan to do it. Most of the ways that I work with clients, and I say I because every coach is different, but the way I coach is to make sure that I give each of my clients homework. And so with this homework, it is very personable, and making sure that they understand, okay, this is for you. Based off this conversation about what you want, we're going to do X, Y, and Z for your homework. Because at the end of the day, it is not enough for me to tell you this is what you need.
Yeah.
You actually have to do the work. And so a lot of the work can be emotional. Some of the work can be time consuming, just because you have to sit with yourself and answer those really deep questions. And then it really just comes down to a temperature check. Are you feeling yourself right now? If not, let's dig deep to figure out why you're not. And it's really about asking questions and looping them until you find the answers yourself. Because I don't want to put that into your head. And I can say what a life coach is not, is that I will not clinically diagnose you. So if I feel that it is something out of my scope of range, I will refer you to a therapist, or ask you to find one through your health insurance or through a paid option. And I cannot administer you drugs. And so that's a big difference, a very big difference.
And I'm really excited, because I remember when I first came to you, I felt like I was so emotionally distraught and all over the place. And then as she started asking me kind of general questions about myself, and where did I see myself going. And I think I was able to, it's like you unpacked everything for me. I was able to genuinely find out my purpose, and I feel like part of the reason why I'm doing this show is you kind of like helped me see that. So, yeah.
It's all you.
Thank you.
But I'm happy to be a part of it.
Thank you. So I just want to like continue to move forward. So like, what is the path to finding your purpose? Like, how can we go about, I guess, doing that? Or...
Got it. So purpose, what I'm understanding, purpose a few years ago meant something totally different than it does now for me. I think in the past, purpose was really understanding the things that you couldn't not live without, and doing that every day, where no job felt like a job. But I think now purpose is a very loaded word, and I'll explain. So purpose, when people think purpose, they think that it's supposed to fit in this nice, neat little package, and that you can run it off like your elevator speech, like this is my purpose. But from my own experiences over the last few years, I found that my purpose is to serve, but it's also the way I go about serving. So if it's as a coach, if it's as a speaker, the mediums are different. If it's, I like when people come over and I cook for you, and now I'm physically serving you, but it's also a way of me showing gratitude.
Yeah.
And so I understand that I have many different, different points of purpose in my life. They all intersect with intention, which is love, which is care, which is to be a servant leader. But I think purpose is not going to be something that you find in a day. It's not something you find in a week. It's not something you can write off in your taxes.
It takes time.
Yeah, it takes time. Well, you can't write it off in your taxes if you're already doing it. So I actually take that back. But I mean to say that it actually takes time to develop and refine, and it's not something that you should pigeonhole yourself to. Okay. So if you say, my purpose is to be a cheerleading coach, it does not mean that you can't go and do something else. So some people get so wrapped up into, this is my purpose, this is what it is, that they actually start to confine themselves into a box. And so you have to understand that your purpose can evolve. And it can evolve and it can grow, and that should be okay.
I kind of felt that on like a personal level, like when we were working together, because I felt like there was something that God was calling me to do.
Yeah.
And then I also felt like it was something that, I wanted to do for myself. So I feel like with what God is asking me to do is to kind of like continue my mom's legacy and to...
I love that.
Thank you. I feel like that was like the path that God was calling me on. And it's like literally everything was aligning perfectly. When I needed to take classes that weren't available, then they became available for me. So it was just seeing like that was literally where I needed to be. However, I want to be able to also for myself go back to school for forensic science and then continue on and do cosmetic science. However, I'm grateful because then I'm capable after, going to school and everything, I can tie in STEM to my program and offer that for young women.
And that's awesome.
So I'm super excited. Yeah. How also, I feel like the big thing for me too was like growing and growth on my journey. How can we grow also spiritually through life coaching? Well, I feel like I did from you.
Well, I think the spiritual component, it's all about what comes from within. So I think life coaching, again, it's all about the mental, but it's also about the emotional connection, which is also the spiritual connection. It's a soul tie. And so for me, it's like understanding, okay, what are your issues? And why is this something that's eating you? And what's that problem that's constantly gnawing at you, where you feel like you can't get anything done, where you feel like you have no voice, you have no power. And so it's really, my purpose is to show you that God lives within. And we all have different names for God, and we may not also look at God as a he. We might not look at it as an entity, a figure, but there is something that lives within. So I also let you know that everything you need is within you, right?
Yeah.
And so that ties that back into the spiritual component of letting you know there's nothing that you need that is external, right? So even when going to your classes, even when you thought about, you know what, I want to take, because you've been doing your nonprofit courses.
Yeah.
And so I want to create a 501c. I want to continue the legacy of my mother, which you do by waking up every day, by continuing to say, I'm going to attack the day with enthusiasm. Even when it sucks, even when I don't feel like it, you're still here. So that's one way you're carrying her legacy. But the second way you're doing it is by building an actual corporation. When you show up for yourself, the universe conspires to give you what you want, right?
Yes.
But everything started from what was within. And so when you say, this is what I want to do, and you are doing it with action, which is what I'm all about, you're taking the action steps to do it, you're showing up for yourself, the universe conspires. That means that those doors that were closed now open. You're right? So you open your own doors. All those blockages are now clearing out because your soul is aligned with your spirit and intention and purpose, and the universe, again, is conspiring to give you what you need. So you attract what you put out.
Yes.
So light attracts light, right?
Yes.
So you say, this is what I need. There's a blockage, but you're saying, you know what? I am still continuing. I'm committed to moving forward. Because you're committed to moving forward, the blocks will pass through and you will be okay, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's exactly why you're finding things to be working in your favor,
100%.
Because you are standing in your truth, you are owning exactly what you want to do, and you're intentional, you're doing it with purpose. And again, everything's aligned. Your spiritual is connected to your emotional and your psyche, and that's exactly what it's doing.
Oh, that's great. I'm so excited because I felt like even like through you, it's like a different way of looking, I feel like, than from before when I was like going through everything like with my anxiety and then like depression, and it was like looking at the glass half empty rather than looking at the glass half full. You actually told me that. Yeah. And so I think that once I got on that page, it's like, okay, like now I'm ready to kind of go back to church and really start and understand and develop that relationship with God, which I felt like I had lost when I lost my mom.
Yeah.
So it was like, like it felt good, and it felt like I had the motivation to push myself out of that dark space. Yeah. And definitely go ahead and thrive. I was able to start the talk show. So how can we incorporate boundaries in our day-to-day, whether it's with our relationships or with our friendships even?
Okay, so you have to start getting comfortable with saying no, and like own it, and like N-O with a period with a T, so it's like N-O period T, right? And you have to like own that, because once you understand the power of no, you just understand, and you've embraced your power, right? You understand that, you know what, no, you can't eat all the food in my house. No, you can't come over. No, you can't use my credit card. No, you can't use my flat iron, although I can't flat iron this. No, you can't have me. Like, I just can't give you that. And I think that's really important when it comes to boundaries, is understanding that your emotional health is tied to your boundaries. So when you're in a relationship, there is no way possible at this moment in my life that I would let anybody, romantically, I have a man, but I let him know that I love myself enough that if it came between me and you, I choose me. And we're in a healthy, happy relationship, but he still knows I'm choosing me, because my boundaries are, the way they're set up is that you can't come play with this. Like, I need you to be attentive. I also need you to understand what I will not do, because I have healthy boundaries for myself. And as it relates to friendships, I wouldn't ask someone for something that I wouldn't do myself, but I also wouldn't allow them to ask me for something that I'm uncomfortable with doing. Now, when I was younger, I was always trying to make everyone happy, because that's important. I want everyone to like me, I want everyone to get along, and that sounds great. And then I got older and I was like, no, I can't come to your brunch because I'm tired, and you don't care that it's the first of the month and everything is due. I'm joking. But what I'm saying is that I had to value myself first. And when I value myself first, the friends that no longer serve me, they fell off. I don't know where they're at, and that's okay. I wish them love. But I also became a better friend to myself. I became a better lover to myself, and understanding that I have to take care of my needs first, and that nothing works well without boundaries, just for the simple fact that they are the cure for all your anxiety. Right? Yeah. They're the cure for what you will or will not take at a job. So if you are going into a job, a new job opportunity, and they offer you a salary, but your boundaries and your ethics aren't strong, then you'll go in there and you'll take anything, right? You'll say yes to everything that your boss is asking you to do, because you don't have boundaries. And you have to set those up, because that is strengthening your voice, that is strengthening your positioning, that is you understanding your worth ultimately. And I think that it's important that we all do it, or else you'll go through life with the hurt back, because you're carrying the weight of everyone. And who wants to do that? It's not fun.
I feel like definitely when I first started talking to you about figuring out my boundaries, it was so hard, guys, because
You're really nice.
Yeah, I really don't like to say no, and I know that if I can, I'll do it. But in a sense, then I started to, overextend myself, and it just
You get sick.
and I got tired.
You get tired.
But then now I told myself for 2019, that was one of my goals that I had said that I was definitely going to start establishing boundaries and saying no more, especially in the times that I know I needed to put myself first, whether I was like, it's my mental or my physical and I'm tired or anything like that. So I'm definitely thankful, and we're still working on it because it's
a work in progress.
Yeah.
It takes time. I don't expect you to wake up today and say boundaries and everything works well. Like the human part of it is fumbling on your way through and learning the lesson.
Yeah.
Now, if you refuse to learn the lesson, that's on you. But you really have to take into consideration that you are the most important being in your life. And you have to take care of you. And the way to take care of you is to know when to say no. Doesn't mean you have to be inflexible. It's you just have to know that, does this add value to my life? Is this too much for me right now? Can I manage this? And is this unacceptable? Like, you have to understand what that is for you in your life and assess it. Even when it comes to family, most importantly.
Yeah.
Knowing how to say no and what you won't put up with
your family.
Yeah.
Which it can be hard because especially you thinking to yourself, I love them, and you always want to be there for them to the best of your ability. However, that was another thing that I learned too, is that your family also should have boundaries if it's necessary.
Everyone, especially your family.
especially your family. So apart from that also, because a lot of things that I felt like we did that you worked on with me was definitely self-reflecting.
Yeah.
Sitting and with myself and, writing in my journal.
Because who wants to do that?
It's not fun. But however, I feel like the homework that she gave me definitely, because, when you leave a session, you don't necessarily think, everything that you're learning you're going to be tested on.
Yeah.
And that's when that homework comes into play. You're like, okay, now you gotta do it. You gotta start thinking about it again.
Yeah.
And I really felt like when I got the homework, it allowed me to kind of definitely, start self-reflecting. I wanted to know, how can self-reflection help us evolve, and what are some tools that we can use, that you may use when you're working with your clients?
You have to, it's so funny because when you think about boundaries, we think about external, like all the people or things that we don't want to have in our lives. But when you're doing self-reflection, it's the boundaries with yourself. Like, what am I doing that's just totally messed up that I need to trim the fat on? And so for me, trimming the fat are the people, things, and personal behaviors that no longer serve you. And so you have to trim the fat. And so when it comes back to self-reflection, it's like, okay, self, you said that you wanted to start a podcast. You said that 30 years ago, but it still has not happened. So who is the common denominator? It is you, right? And so because of that, you have to look at yourself and say, self, I can do better, right? Putting it in the affirmative. And self, we can start this now. And so the process does not have to look beautiful or perfect. It just has to get done, right? You have to actually take the time to do it. And that's a part of self-reflecting, really identifying the parts of yourself that need work. So if you're not emotional enough, if you have no empathy, you need to work on that. If your emotional intelligence is not where it needs to be, emotional intelligence meaning that I can master my emotions, but I can also read your emotions and change my emotions depending on that.
Gotcha.
So that
that's where I'm working at.
Yeah, so that we can understand that. So if I sense that you are sad, I can understand that, and I can talk to you in a tone that really cuts through all the noise, right?
Yeah.
And so it's also self-management. So if I make you upset, you also understand that she just might be crazy right now. So because of that, I'm just going to talk to her in a different type of tone, because I'm not going to get through the noise at this moment. Yeah. And so it really helps. It really helps you cut down on the BS in your life and any arguments. But back to self-reflection. So self-reflection is identifying the parts of yourself that need work. We all need work.
Yeah.
No one's perfect. And so I know the parts of myself that need work. I know when I'm falling off the hook, and I have to keep myself accountable, because whether you have a coach or not, I cannot hold you accountable. Right?
100%.
You have to hold yourself accountable at all times. Some of the things that I suggest that I've personally done is one, pen and paper, always. Most important tools you have. They're usually free $99. You can pick them up at someone else's house, and you legit just write down all the things that you want to work on, all the things that you've noticed, all the things that you want. Let's start with there, your goals. What do you want? Let's talk about what you have done to accomplish that. Write it in another column. And then also some of the things that you already have identified of things that you need to work on. Write that in another column. And so see exactly where all this fits in. Okay, these are my goals. What action steps have I actually taken to make this happen? And then also, what am I identifying as some traits that I need to work on? So if you know, back to that podcast example, I don't know why I'm saying that, using this one, probably because I know I need to get mine done. So when you know about the podcast, right, and I keep using this example because I have to get it done. So I'm checking myself. So we're fam now, so you know exactly what I need to work on. So when you know that you have a podcast to create, but your action steps have not taken into any accountability of doing it, and then you recognize that your trait is that you're really tired, which might be health related, which might be, and I'm talking about myself, might be health related. Legit, I'd rather be honest, right? You're really tired, you are falling asleep everywhere, then it's like, okay, so either you're lazy or you really need to go see someone to figure out, maybe my blood sugar's low, something's wrong, which might actually be the issue. But sometimes it's not as internal in terms of your health. Sometimes it's just, you just aren't putting in the time to get the work done, and it's that simple. But it's really a case-by-case basis, and it's something that you have to sit with yourself and take the time to create those lists to understand where am I falling short and how can I do better. But even after you do all of that, you still have to hold yourself accountable to actually get it done. And one way to do it is to set a goal, like set a short-term goal and a long-term goal. So if you have a goal of getting a project done, give yourself a month to get research done. You know, don't set it up where you're like, I'm going to get this research done by Friday. That's me. When it took you 3 years to even actually get to this point. So let's tell the truth, guys. Let's say, you know what, we ain't gonna get this done by Friday. In fact, we're gonna be at happy hour. So because of that, we're going to give ourselves a month. We're going to put it in our Google calendars or whatever calendar you use to make sure that it's set up, that you give yourself a week before reminder, because we all know that sometimes we'll wait until the day of, right? So we'll give ourselves a week reminder and a 2-day reminder, because this is what I do in my life all the time, to say, hey self, you said that you were going to get this project done by this date. And you give yourself reminders. Get accountability partners. So you might have a coach like myself, you can hire me, or you can actually, shameless plug, or you can actually find friends that or family members who really align with what you have going on, who understand you, who love all of you, even the parts that need to be worked on, and they hold you accountable, and you tell them what your goals are, and you let them know what kind of dates you set up to get a project done, and they hold you accountable. It might be a little annoying because they might add a little spice onto it, but sometimes that might be the kick in the butt that you actually need. As well as, it's all about self-reflection. So as well as doing some mirror work, right? So mirror work is when you go into a room by yourself, and there's a mirror, usually the bathroom, because usually there's a mirror there. You don't have to recreate it. And you literally look into the mirror, and you just look at yourself. And usually a lot of people tend to do it when they're undressed, like fully unclothed. And it's nothing sexual. It's literally looking at who you are, full body, with no place to hide, and saying like your affirmations of what you want in your life. And so this might come before or after you do those long lists. The long list can actually guide you, but it's really about, I want love, right? So if I want self-love, then it's I am love. Or if I know that I want to do this big project, then I'm putting it in the affirmative. And you look into the mirror, and it's the most vulnerable thing that you can do with yourself. And I've had to do it many a times, and I've done it just getting out the shower and just looking at myself, all of me, and saying, I accept every part of you, the good, the bad, the beautiful, because we're not going to say the ugly, right? Yeah. And I accept all parts of you. I accept you when you're low. I accept you when you're high. I want you to know that I got you. And again, it's vulnerable. And how much more vulnerable can you get than in a bathroom with your, like by yourself,
telling yourself
unclothed and telling yourself these things? It can get highly emotional, but it is what you have to do to cut through the crap, to say like, no more, right? Like you can decide, we all can decide to do better, right? That's the biggest part of self-reflection, is that it's a choice. I can choose to remain unhappy. You know, I can also choose to be happy, but the key to happiness is gratitude, right?
I love that.
It's true, because happiness is fleeting. Emotions are fleeting. If I hit you like in your knee, it will hurt, right? It'll be painful. 5 minutes later, it might not hurt. So your emotions right now are, I don't like her. You know, I don't care for her, and I'm upset. 5 minutes later, it's like, hey girl, hey.
And I can change.
And I can change it. It's a choice. And so because our emotions are fickle, we have to find something more concrete, which is gratitude, right? So where happiness fades, gratitude remains. And that's a really important thing for me, is that gratitude is the ultimate sign of abundance. It's the ultimate sign of thanks. Thank you, universe. Thank you, God. Thank you, you know, for having me here. And it's really just allowing you to understand that, you know what, when things don't look right, I'm grateful, right? So self-reflection, you have to be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace, right? When it comes to self-reflection, that after you've identified the things that you need to change, after you've done some of the mirror work and really getting those things out and creating that self-contract within the mirror, you have to give yourself grace that I was not my best self before. But you know what? I want to do better now. And I'm sitting here in this mirror with no clothes on, and I'm telling you, I'm giving you grace, right? Because I accept every part of you. But I'm also letting myself know that it's okay to have not known that before. But Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
Right? But it's a choice, again. So even when you know better, you always do better. But when you know better, you do better. That is the goal. You have to give yourself grace. But you also have to let yourself know that you can be the cancer that is eating away at everything. So you have to.
So I wanted to go into how positive affirmations kind of helped me out of like my anxiety and my depression, especially when I had my low moments. I definitely had to pop into my bathroom and constantly remind myself of who I am. Constantly had to
do the work
and boost my confidence level. And I want to discuss how life coaching may help one's mental health.
Sure. So I think when it comes down to it, mental health is an umbrella, you know, for different symptoms that you may be feeling. So again, I'm not a therapist, so I wouldn't be able to diagnose someone. But I think when it comes to mental health, it really comes down to how you feel about yourself. And the way that a coach can work with you is really just unloading some of those truths, right? So some of the things that you feel about yourself, because we need to pay homage to your feelings, right? I'm not here, so if you say, I don't feel beautiful, I don't feel love, I'm not here to tell you that those feelings aren't untrue. They're true for you right now, right? Doesn't mean that they're fact. And that's a big thing. The truth can be loaded. It doesn't mean that it's a fact. And I think going back to coaching, it's really unloading some of the truths that you're currently feeling, because we're paying homage to them, and then understanding that these aren't actually fact. So how do we make that clear for you, right? And so during some of that unloading, it really comes down to when I'm working with homework, based off of our sessions, like what are you feeling? So I know in our sessions, it's like, okay, this is where you're at, right? And we identified some key traits with you, and it was like, okay, we actually need to start working on not just boundaries, but also how you relate to other people and why, right? And so when we're doing that, it's really understanding that you're not just doing certain things because it's fun. You know, you're not just doing some of these type of things without any intent. It's really because there's an emotional behind it that connects with your childhood, that connects with who you are as a woman, and it also connects with who you're going to actually become, you know, because as Michelle Obama said, we're constantly becoming. Yeah. You should read her book, or audio book.
Auntie, can I have mine back, please?
Yes,
thanks, because I
perfect.
know you watch this.
But it really comes down to identifying those moments, unpacking it all, and really rebuilding you back up. So we unpack to rebuild back up. Yeah. In a simple terms, I felt like I was going all around the way. But that's really how a life coach works, especially when it comes to your mental health. Again, it's an umbrella. So if you are someone that is clinically, you know, you're depressed, I may not be the best person for you, but if you're someone that is just going through an emotional rut, someone that's going through heartbreak, that's going through pain, then I can help you assess, well, why do you feel this way? We're unloading it, right? This is your truth. I want to know why you're feeling this way. And I want the full truth. I don't want you to hold back. I want you to be very clear of your emotions, because that's the only way we're going to fix it. But if you compartmentalize, because I think we've had multiple sessions, And we've come back to a session and it was just like, well, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
But it's also, it's not you. Sometimes it's just our way of protecting ourselves that we omit truths. Because it's like, well, no, that means you're going to know me, and I'm going to have to like do the work.
Yeah.
And I'm going to actually have to tell the truth to myself. And that's where a coach comes in. It's about looping the process. Because again, I'm not here to tell you how to do things, right? And how to just get them done. I'm here to help you take ownership.
I'm in the driver's seat.
You're in the driver's seat. I'm in the passenger seat. I'm on Waze. We're looking out for cops. The cops in this case are the people that don't need to be in your life, right? So we're watching out for those roadblocks, but you're in the driver's seat and I need you to be comfortable there. I'm just helping you unpack it, helping you rebuild it, and finding out exactly where this location is, because sometimes Waze makes you take the back roads.
Yeah.
Like seriously, they'll have you in the boondocks. But at the end of the day, it's helping you get to that finish point. And the finish point, the finish line, doesn't mean that the work is done. It's really just helping you identify what the issue is, paying homage to it, what is your truth, and then building you back up. And we do that through affirmations. We also do that with cutting the cord, with your own personal behaviors or people that genuinely don't need to be in your life. I don't make you do it. It's something that you have to assess and identify as the cancer, something that you have to get out. And then just constantly doing it, paying homage to our feelings, acknowledging it. I want you to leave with the tools to thrive. So when you're able to assess, I'm having anxiety, for me, that's great because you're acknowledging your feelings. And you're like, I have anxiety. I actually need to leave this party now. I don't feel good about myself right now. Or I actually need to go home and do some work, some self-care work. I actually need to get quiet. So even when it comes to your love life, it's like, I love you a lot, and this is just in general, I love you a lot, but I actually need to take this time for myself because I'm getting my frequencies mixed up between what I want and what you want and our needs, and I honestly can't figure out what I truly need to do for me right now. And so it's really assessing who that is. But if you have that mental capacity to do so, then that's really important to me when we leave, to not put a Band-Aid on it.
Although life coaching can assess and help mental health, which I feel like it did for me, I also ended up taking your advice and taking the steps and going back and seeing my therapist also. Yeah. So I felt like I had, work on both ends. I had someone helping me assess my past and why I was feeling the way I was feeling, and then I had you helping me assess my future and how my past played a part in
goal setting.
Yeah. So I'm very, very excited to say that. I felt definitely the growth has been there, and I do know that I need to continue to go farther with it. I want to thank you. Thank you. 100% for doing this and for being here with me today.
I had a blast as well. I'm excited to be here, and you always have my support.
Thank you. I want to thank you so much for being with us today and being a part of our episode called Girls with Purpose. Follow us on Instagram and on YouTube or just Girl Talk, but also please make sure you are following Ayana and definitely connect with her too. I'm going to put her Instagram and everything in the description box below. Thank you again for being here, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next episode of Girl Talk.